Daisy, sorry you have to talk to me again. Um, I did tell you at South by how much I enjoyed this movie. It is such a delicious ride.
We
Um,
were, and by the way, we were really on a high after speaking to you
oh
because
yeah.
yeah, the room had been really great the night before, but then of course the next day you're like, ooh, how does everyone really feel about this? And we had a really great time with you, so thank you.
Oh, great. Oh, great. Well, likewise, I had a great time with you guys. Yeah, I was telling you that like I related to it as like a part-time dadager
Mm.
that takes his kid on set, but
Yeah,
only that part.
right.
There is some real life filming experience that you had that inspired this.
Yes, that was on The Marsh King's Daughter. And it wasn't the experience so much as the bond I had with the little girl that played my daughter. She's
Mm,
called Joey and she was so amazing. But she was 6 and she was calling me mummy at work and then she was going home to her mum. And I remember thinking this is so the sort of lines do get blurred sometimes on a film set because
mhm.
she's playing my child, but I really loved her. Like I loved her not as a child, but your real
Yeah.
relationship. And because I was in Canada at the time and it was lockdown, I was either at work surrounded by people or at the place I was staying really isolated. And that sort of flip-flop was quite strange. But at the end of the job, I was going home and I have a stable home to go to. And I just thought about anyone really who's on the road for work and doesn't have that stability and how those lines might become blurred. So actually the original idea was an actress that wants to be part of a family, that she's infiltrating
Mm,
the family. And it was Tom that said when he started working on it, he just said he was much more drawn to the woman at home who's not part of the excitement and the intoxication of a film set, and the person that
mhm.
is almost feeling like the other woman in a maternal way, knowing that her child, who is really the light of her life, is going to work every day and calling someone else mum, and what that might feel like.
Mhm. Have you talked to the child actor's family? Have they seen
Yeah,
the movie? Did you invite them to the premiere?
I haven't. I don't know that they've seen the movie. I remember I messaged her dad and I was like, this isn't about the adults. It's not about the adults. And I had said to him, because when I had the idea, I was like, oh, I've had this idea. And I was like, I must tell you, this is not any
Yeah.
reflection on it. It was just she was so amazing. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he knows. And it really was not inspired at all by
Yeah.
their situation.
Right.
But I think seeing it will be strange too. But I also genuinely came into this one thinking the bond I had with Joey, I was like, I don't know that we'll find it again. So I was really concerned because it had been so good on The Marsh King's Daughter, and people are the way people talk about child actors, it being really hard to find the right person and then the bond you might form. So we also lucked out so much with Hiba because she was just amazing, and she's really the only fully innocent person in the whole thing, but
Yeah.
she was also emotionally intelligent to understand when we were filming that something was not right. And she is also, we're seeing through her that she understands something's not right in the home, and she didn't know the story at all, but she knew enough in the scenes to know that all was not well.
I mean, they say write what you want to see on the screen,
Yeah,
right? Like, are these types of movies your jam? Like these
yeah.
like dramatic noirish thriller, heavy character study at the same time?
Yes, me and Tom have a real wide-ranging love of films. Like all, there are so many things I'm excited to see that really range across the board. But our intention was to make something that even if we didn't make it, we'd want to see. And
Mhm.
this is the sort of thing that I love. Yeah, I love trying to figure out what is going on and piecing things together. And of course, everyone wants to be ahead of the film. The audience always want to be ahead.
Mhm.
But I love the sort of film where when you understand it, you're like, oh, and then you're backtracking and figuring out all the ways that you might have seen it. Um,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
yes, this is really my jam.
I want to watch it and I wanted to revisit it for this, and I regret, but I want to watch it specifically with my wife,
Oh,
to
interesting.
have her to have her enjoy it, but also to revisit it
Yeah,
for that
yeah.
precise reason. Were you guys watching? I mean, it's very Hitchcockian, I think you
Yeah.
could say. Was
Yeah.
that, were you guys immersing yourselves in Hitchcock at all?
So Tom and I discussed Tully a lot with Charlize Theron.
Mm,
And in terms of sort of oppressive camera, we talked about Homecoming with Julia Roberts and of
mm,
course Gone Girl.
mm,
And then it was actually when Sam came in and Laura, our DP, they were very inspired by Hitchcock and John Demme particularly. And actually it's called Under the Skin, the Scarlett Johansson movie, because
oh yeah.
and that was our way into the text world, because the text world was something that we knew we didn't want to be looking at phones all the time, and
Mm,
understanding this sort of midway place between reality and it's obviously Ben's imagination, but it is real text. So how we were to do that, and also honestly give the actors a chance to perform that, which is just a really, it's nice to not just be see texting all the time. And that
mm.
was Laura and our production designer Amanda MacArthur. So that was a, a big discussion with the inspiration for the text world.
I mean, it feels like you're very intently working on a lot of like smaller, more intimate projects. Is that intentional to like, are you feeling like a lot of like freedom like in these environments versus like, tentpole blockbuster filmmaking?
I go where the work takes me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I am available for a job. You can give me
Yeah.
a big job, you can give me a small job, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I certainly don't feel a difference actor wise creatively, regardless of the budget or regardless of the size. I feel like I've been incredibly lucky that the sort of studio bigger movies I've done, I've always felt very heard and collaborated with, and there's been lots of room for trying stuff out. Um,
Mhm.
and because that was sort of my precedent, because that was the first time I was really working on set, I've always felt that on all of the movies I've done. But certainly feeling more able to put things together myself is exciting. And certainly with this, it was just one of those things that I really wanted to make the film. I thought it was
Mhm.
as Tom was writing it, I was like, I think this could be really great. And sort of being able to push, Tom calls me a rocket, but to be able to push something forward in a way that is propulsive. And that was a real blessing with that one. But I'm
Mm.
really I like what I like. And I tend not to think about the size of anything when I say
Mhm.
yes. And also sometimes honestly it's just where the chips fall.
Yeah.
And the way that things are scheduled. But there are a few things upcoming that again are all sorts of different um sizes and that are very exciting.
Do you ever look at like anyone else's careers who had like a similar trajectory as you, as like a blueprint, like folks like Kristen Stewart or Robert Pattinson, Daniel
Mm,
Radcliffe, who are in these sort of massive IP, but then like
mm.
really like smartly navigated their careers, sort of coming out of those?
I mean, I'm a big fan of Kristen Stewart, and particularly the her going into the almost French cinema world. I was like, this is sick.
Yeah.
And I've been an admirer of all of the things she's done. So yes, she is certainly someone. But I also, yeah, it's interesting. I try really hard to not look sideways, which of course is difficult. But
Yeah.
I really, I admire so many people. Um, and I try to, yeah, the admiration is really there, and then I'm like, okay, I'm on my own course, because I don't really, sometimes I thought, should I have more of an agenda? I don't know. I feel like the way I uh go with jobs feels good. That's a
Mm.
long way around of saying yes, I'm a huge admirer of Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, yeah, same. I mean, I'm always expected to ask you a requisite Star Wars question, but I'm going to ask you this instead.
Mhm.
What is the most annoying Star Wars question you get? Like, what do you like getting the least?
It's not that it's annoying, but what's tricky is people going, well, can you tell us?
Yeah,
And I'm like, I mean, we all know that I can't tell you anything. So it's not
yeah.
that it's annoying, but it's finding 100 different ways to say I can't tell you anything. Um, and particularly because I want to, like I do
Hmm.
want to update people and I want to let people know what's going on, but until I am given the green light to say it, I can't. Um,
Hmm.
so that's one that's trickier.